Hi guys, it's Lisa Unger. Hi guys, and I'm here with this amazing duo of women, powerhouse, yes, powerhouse author and just amazing person. I've had the opportunity to see Lisa Scottoline speak a couple of times, and she's an absolute inspiration to every kind of writer, from established to aspiring. She has, just this amazing talk that she gives that really moved me. The last time I heard you speak, Lisa, it was back in BoucherCon in St. Pete. Do you remember you flew down?
Totally.
For that, and you were
was there.
You were amazing, and it was like a packed house, and I just remember feeling like, wow, she's even more amazing than I thought she was, and I already thought you were pretty amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And if it's not enough to be here with Lisa, I'm also here with her talented and fantastic daughter, Francesca Serritella. And she has a new book out, Ghosts of Harbor. You've got one too.
I got one too.
And I was almost late for this Zoom because I was reading her book. It's beautifully written, engrossing, super exciting, and also has like my favorite kind of blend of things. I'm a big fan of the blend of like mystery and a little bit of the supernatural. That's like one of my favorite sort of areas, and one where I dabble somewhat myself. So I'm very excited. It's hooked. I'm hooked right away, which is 90% of it. And what was that?
The door just slammed, so it goes.
That actually is true. The door just slammed shut on its own. I think it was the wind, but maybe it was not.
But maybe not.
The dog is barking at something, and that's always the sign, right? When the animal knows.
Exactly. The animal knows. He knows. I think everybody wants to see the dogs anyway. That's
I know. They're so badly behaved.
Yeah, I know. All loved dogs are badly behaved. That's mine.
Yeah, if any gets within reach, we'll grab them up and pull them right into it. We have 5 dogs in this house right now.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So.
That means that they're running the show, pretty much.
Pretty much.
It means it's a nightmare right now.
Yeah, and our dog Jack, he's also running the show. So he's sleeping right now. So he's acting like a well-behaved dog, but really he's just waiting for his moment. Pretty soon he'll come up and walk. He'll walk across the couch, I think, just to make himself.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Well, let us know if you wanted to do something about the barking, because we can get it done.
No, it's fine. Just it's all good.
Just kidding.
I'm kidding. They know that.
All right, so we are here today. I've been doing this like sort of series of videos with my pals, talking about 3 good things. It's kind of my natural instinct to counteract negativity, and like anytime you turn on your computer or look at the news, obviously it's just a flood of sort of like bad news. So this is my kind of antidote. This is what I'm trying to do, to put out 3 good things whenever I can. And you guys are quarantining together, right? You guys are.
I normally live in New York City, but of course my heart is just breaking for how hard that city has been hit with this terrible virus. And I came home really early because it's really, we have a small family. We always joke, this is Thanksgiving, like single mom, single maid, that's only child. So I came down thinking I would just be here for a couple weeks to help her in case she needed it, figure it out. And then I did not expect, that was March 11th. So I did not expect
all day, every moment.
Oh, Mom, I love you so much.
And of course, she has no clothes. She's like wearing her high school wardrobe.
It's true.
College shirts.
Right. I brought about 2 weeks worth of underwear. So I'm doing a lot of laundry and wearing my mom's clothes, which is really inspiring for my debut fiction career.
That's awesome. That's so great. It's a really auspicious start.
Yeah. But we're alive. So there's that.
Well, there's that. That's the thing that you have to, and that's funny you say that, because that's what my husband keeps saying. He's like, hey, we're alive. I'm like, true.
I love your husband. Don't like that.
What else are you going to say? I mean, like, I talked to Ocean, my daughter, about this too, because it's hard on the kids, the little ones, because, basically all the fun has been stripped from their lives. And I keep telling her, hey, we're safe, we're healthy, we love each other, we're happy, like this is literally right now the best case scenario. Like it doesn't, in this particular moment, it doesn't get any better than that. And so gratitude is, in order. So that's the good thing. Lots of gratitude. And also,
Right.
I think, my daughter is blessed, and I am also blessed, mainly because, we're readers and we're also creative. So for me, writing is always an escape hatch. My daughter's an animator, so that's her kind of like
Right.
happy place. But we're both, obviously huge readers. All writers are readers first. That's where we fall in love with story in the pages of somebody else's book. And so, I've been taking a lot of comfort in, just reading and, working on my own novel, but also disappearing into the words of, writers that I love and respect. So I am wondering if that is true for you guys as well. Do you also sort of use reading as an escape hatch? Is there anything right now that you're particularly engrossed in, or something that you kind of return to again and again when you need a little comfort?
Absolutely. I mean, it certainly is an escape. It always has been, just a comfort. Like, I feel like reading is so nurturing to you, and it's a way to spend free time that doesn't fray your attention span or fray your nerves further, like Twitter. I mean, I'm as guilty as viewing all that social stuff, but it doesn't like soothe you.
No.
And I think at first this news was so terrible, I had a hard time focusing on reading. But then in the last month, I would say I like rediscovered it, and it just was so nurturing right away, built right away. And I have just returned to one of my just forever favorite authors I never leave, which is David Baldacci. And our Walk the Wire copy is delayed from the pandemic agita, but the last one I read was this Minute to Midnight. And he has just been such an inspiration to me forever, because first through his writing, but he is such a wonderful person. And 10 years ago, I had just started working on Ghosts of Harvard, when it was just like a secret little project that I was embarrassed to tell people, my friends at a party, about. But I had started writing it, and I had just read David's book, Deliver Us from Evil. And I really loved it, because everybody knows, like, thinks of him as just so great with these thrillers, but they're also so beautifully crafted. They're so tight. They have a lot of rich references. And I had just graduated college, and I had studied Dante, and I thought that he was referencing something in Dante's Inferno. And this is all a long way to say that I wrote him the dorkiest fan email. Like, I wrote him, I found it again recently because I dug it back up. I searched my Gmail, and I was like horrified, but I had sent him like paragraphs about how I'd really enjoyed it. And I thought it was so cool how, the protagonist tracked how far he went by counting the seconds, like this cool, like SEAL team information, but then also this Dante's Inferno reference. And I wondered if that's what he was thinking about. And at the very bottom, I have had the guts to say, I'm actually writing my own novel right now. And I just really hope someday that, it could ever be remotely as good as yours. Well, he wrote me back the longest, loveliest, most encouraging email. He was like, that was a Dante reference. You're so, like, you nailed it. And he added this completely, unnecessary paragraph unnecessary. He didn't need to spend his time doing that, but this huge paragraph encouraging me, telling me that, to push through and persevere through any obstacles, to make sure, I took myself seriously and gave the book a real chance.
Yeah.
And this was that book.
That's amazing.
And it was so incredible. And I was just so excited to 10 years later write him and go,
I did it.
Mr. Baldacci, I finished the book. Yeah. So it was just, and it was one of those moments. I actually, even 10 years ago, I printed it out, that email, and I stuck it next to my computer to be like, this person thought you were legit enough to write you back in an email, and like, don't let him down. Don't make a liar out of him. So it was so inspiring to me, and it was just really just touching that he spent the time. So yeah, love David Baldacci so much. Excellent writer and better person.
That's awesome. What about you, Lisa?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I love reading. So as you know, you're in the one room in the house that has no books in it.
Right. Best light, but yeah, there's no books.
This is where the light is good. So we have some priorities. But I sort of go by authors. I have so many favorite authors, and you're one, Lisa. So
thank you. Thank you so much.
It's really true. And I got the new Kathy Reichs, and that's what I'm kind of lost in now, Conspiracy of
yeah.
Because I really, I sort of think I was actually thinking an answer to this question. I read for character. I love characters.
Absolutely.
And there's so many good characters on the whole breadth of crime fiction.
Yeah.
And I think she's one of them. Particularly women characters. So I just love it. And I'm loving the book.
That's great. I love what you said too, Francesca, about, how, you know, it took me a really long time to finish my first novel as well. Like it took me about 10 years to finish my first book, and it was the first book that I ever published. So, and I always say this when I talk to aspiring writers, because I think it's really important to hear that, you know, it doesn't matter, like, you know, where an author is in their career now, bestseller list, prize winner, you know, published, whatever, like everybody at one point was like a writer sitting in a room alone with a manuscript that they didn't think was good enough, or they weren't sure was good enough, or am I even good enough to be doing this? And I think everybody started there. And I think everybody who's aspiring and who has a book and they're trying to write a book, they need to know that. So thanks for saying that. And, you know, that's great to hear.
And all of us, you know, beginning writers are so lucky to have incredibly supportive superstars like you and David Baldacci and my mom, who like remember that time when you were starting out and reach out. And I think this industry is so much warmer, and we're just also the better for it.
Especially mystery thriller, like we're the nicest,
which is so surprising and funny, right? Like you wouldn't think that, like all the hard-boiled people, but you guys are all I think Pip, by the way.
Apropos, like I think part of what it's interesting to listen to her, because I think the truth is there's nobody, no matter if you've written 19 books or 30 books, every time you sit down, it's a blank page.
Yes.
To me, it doesn't get easier. It's so hard.
And it shouldn't get easier. Like if you ever sit down and dial it in, it means you've stopped.
Exactly.
You've stopped loving what you're doing, stopped growing as a writer. It should never get any easier. God forbid. If you ever you know, sit down and like you just, you know, toss off a book, you better just hang it up. Because what's the point?
and you know what? Honestly, I do think that if somebody phones it in, it reads that way.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I'm in a state of such anxiety when I write, and Francesca worked so hard and goes from Harvard that I saw her. I saw the process. I said, honey, I promise you this will pay off. And the book is so beautifully written. I have to say, sorry.
Really
Come on, I'll shut up in a little bit.
But it's not just the mom that's saying that. You know, she's getting rid of the Washington Post and the whole thing. So,
but it's a great book. It's just a great book, period.
She's also all gushy because I made her wait so long to read it. You know, everybody thinks like we're so close. And that must mean that maybe I had her editing pages. But I thought, you know, I wanted to keep her as mom.
Yeah.
You only get one mom, and you can get plenty of critics. And now I have like my dream editor at Random House. So I knew I would get that type of critical feedback. What I wanted to keep her as was like that mental game stuff. When I call her and go, you know, oh mom, I think I'm the girl, she would just be like, you're wonderful, honey. That's how we all feel, instead of like, you know, giving me edits. Like I didn't need that.
That's very smart. That's really smart.
Right.
Yeah.
It's much more natural. It's great.
What's that? Lisa,
it's much more natural. That's our relationship. So
yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I can see that you guys are super close, and that's really nice. And I love your little dog.
Thank you.
Do you hear the one that's barking?
Pip is a really well-behaved one. I said to her, only Pip should be able to be here for the Zoom, and she didn't agree.
Yeah, they're
barking in the background the whole time.
If it's bothering you, just tell me, and I really will do something.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So also, you know, obviously, as people who love story, we're also watching a lot. I think a lot of Netflix, a lot of movies, a lot of, you know, television and documentaries and movies. All of us are
all the things. Yeah.
to watch. We are watching it. Is there anything right now that you're watching that's really just kind of blowing you away, or something that, you know, I'm kind of like a kid in that way where I'll like rewatch things again and again just because they're just things that I love, and I just want to watch like every version there is of Jane Eyre. Or like one of my all-time books.
Like you, and she's always wants something new, and I'm like, no, especially in this time where it's like stressful. I want to know that it's going to be good, and I love rewatching my favorites, and that was going to be my answer. My favorite that I have just recently revisited, and I was like, this movie just crushes every time I watch it. It's so good. Is What Lies Beneath. Do you know that movie? With Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford. It is so good. And it is so like, I remember I loved it when it came out, and I think I was in high school. It's like but it's like this. It's so the vibe that I was like going for and feeling with Ghosts of Harvard. It's very much my tastes and yours that you described, where it's like, it's a domestic thriller, a little psychological with, there's a married couple and her daughter's just gone to college, and she begins to first become obsessed that she thinks there might be a murder that has happened to the neighbors next door, but then she also is having these weird supernatural experiences. She thinks she's being haunted by the murder victim. Then she starts to think she might be haunted by something that has to do with her husband. It really just walks that line of, you know, is it a crime? Is she losing her mind? Is it a ghost? It's sort of all three. It's so well done. And I think those things actually always go well together, actually, because our fears are so psychological, and our curiosity about ghosts is always really a curiosity about ourselves and what's really going on, you know, closer to home. It's that inside outside question. Am I being haunted by something outside, hunted maybe by something outside, or something within? And that's certainly something I big time explore in Ghosts of Harvard, and I love it in the movie What Lies Beneath.
Yeah, that is a great movie. I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
We watched it last week. We're like, this is great.
Yeah.
She gets scared. I like a little.
I do. I get
just a little spooky.
The funny thing is, if you say, what do I like? I mean, I get scared by that stuff. Although I love it, but mob stuff does not scare me, and I have an endless. I'm insatiable, like The Godfather.
So violent. Nothing. I mean, The Godfather obviously is a classic.
Well, first of all,
okay. So I want. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. I'm like you guys, and I think it's good for people to know that.
Describe what Gomorrah is. People don't just. It's like.
No, I want to talk about your book.
No, it's not. This is your.
No. This is three good things. We have to weave it in.
Okay. First of all, I watch everything, and I think people should not feel guilty about watching everything, because it's all about story, and we're always breaking it down, and afterwards we completely analyze it. What about the main character? So I loved. Well, Breaking Bad was amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
Anything Harlan Coben is doing on Netflix is amazing. I love the plot.
They're so good. Harlan's things. Yeah,
I love the British stuff like Happy Valley. I really love Gomorrah.
I love Happy Valley too.
Gomorrah is hardcore Italian mob, subtitle time. Also Sabura, which is the same thing. But you know what? Family and crime, I love. So when it's crime family, it's like
the
sex.
only thing
I can't even.
The only thing I'm chuckling about is she does get like too scared for What Lies Beneath, which, by the way, is not like a strict horror movie or even that scary.
Right. It's just like a psychological.
Right. But she does have such a capacity for super graphic realistic violence. Like, just like, I'm always watching, and I'll be like working, because especially with the subtitles, you know, you can't really just tune in, tune out. And I look up and it's just heads exploding like pumpkins. And I'm like, what are you watching? She's so not like your little mommy, like, oh, I don't want to frighten her. She's just like, they're blowing people's heads up.
I just like that. I don't know. I can't do it. No, not that. But I mean, the violence is necessary to show the brutality of the people. It's all about the character.
I hear you.
And when it's in a family context, you go, this is a family that's incredibly violent toward each other. I don't know. The whole thing's interesting.
I'm good with all of it. I'm good with all of it. The supernatural, the graphic violence.
I am too. I love it all.
I'm fine.
I love it all. I love our culture. I love culture. I love popular culture. I think it's important when you're writing to be really steeped in it, to read a lot, to watch a lot, to inform yourself and educate yourself.
That's critical. I mean, I think for all writers, I mean, you definitely want to be, because I also think that, you know, I know when I read a really great book or I watch a great show, like, I feel like it recharges my writer batteries. You know, the act of writing a novel is really an act of pure giving. And, you know, you devote so much time and, you know, and heart and, you know, brain energy to the creation of the story, that if you're not also filling yourself up with things that nourish you as a writer, then, you know, I think you could just become very fatigued. You could become very fatigued, like, you know, that kind of brain exhaustion that you get, you know. So I think it's an important thing. And speaking of nourishing ourselves, how was that? What a segue. Right? Yeah, it was amazing.
Smooth as silk.
We have food.
Speaking of nourishing ourselves, what about food? Are you guys both cooks?
Yeah.
Yeah, you both like to cook. And is there something that you've been like, it's been like your kind of quarantine go-to meal, or like something that you guys cook whenever you're like, we just need some comfort, let's make X?
Right. Well, especially now that the weather is getting warmer, we love and live off this one dish in the summertime and spring, which is this watermelon salad. And It's so simple. It's like vaguely impressive if you have people over, although I guess we can never have people over again, but it's really easy. It's just chopped, watermelon, romaine lettuce or arugula, any like bitter green pairs well with the sweetness of the watermelon also. Capers, thinly sliced red onion, and just a nice balsamic and oil, and you mix it. And like the onion and the capers, which you use sparingly. She doesn't like the capers, but
she's queen
it's
of
just
the
a
onions
little
and the
bit.
capers.
It's just a little bit of acid to balance out the sugar and the sweet. Oh, and also feta cheese.
Oh, right, yeah.
A little feta on top. So it's like the milkiness of the feta gets cut by the nice saltiness of the capers, and the acid of the onions counters the sugar or really enhances the sugar and sweetness of the watermelon. And it's just so refreshing. And it takes about 5 minutes to make. So we love that. And my mom also, like, for us, comfort equals pasta. So my mom has this like summer pasta that is my final meal, last thing I want to eat forever. Like, I love it. Yeah.
I actually put it in the MWA cookbook.
Oh,
it's so crazy great, but it's just
I have that on my shelf back there.
I'm in there, baby.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
It's hot pasta, but it's cold tomato sauce. So you just throw tomatoes in a Cuisinart with olive oil and garlic, and you put
and a lot of basil, fresh basil.
And then you just mince it or dice it, whatever the hell the thing does, and throw it on top of the spaghetti, and it's unreal great. It just makes everything great.
Well, that's the amazing thing about like the marinara. I mean, I come from a big Italian family. My maiden name is Michonne, and like that red sauce, that marinara sauce, like my grandma's marinara. Like you cannot believe how completely simple it is. Like people just don't even know. It's just like 4 ingredients.
Yeah, right.
But even it's the best thing you ever tasted.
Right. Yeah, and that classic marinara can be like, though it can be so time consuming, it's like it stews on the stove the whole thing.
You have to have the
like that perfect hot weather inversion of that, where nothing is cooked. It's raw, tomato and fresh, really, it's a better way of saying it. And it's just so like a cheerful way to still eat pasta in the dead of summer.
It sounds like it's going to be terrible, but it's not.
Yeah, no, it sounds amazing.
And it's nice we agree on it, because like the feta, like, when anyone quarantining, like when she wants that, I love that salad too, but I get lazy. Like when you get to be my age, you're like, whatever is easiest. So I'm not chopping onions.
She does only watermelon and lettuce, which is not really a recipe.
And then of course now we're out of food. So the other day I had like salad with an orange and raspberries in it. And you're like, okay, that's
like, fine, whatever, that's the mix of stuff. Right? Whatever, I can put it on, whatever you put it on the plate, you just like empty the lettuce like right from the plastic container or whatever, like here's your salad. We'll call it quarantine salad.
Yeah, great.
Or whatever you have in the refrigerator that hasn't gone bad.
Our grocery deliveries are 12 days between, so we're like, we're eating wood right now. It's great.
Oh my gosh. Guys, this has been so much fun. It's really, really fun to hang out with you. This is one of the things that, this is a really challenging time for all of us. And, there are all these different, like, sort of levels to every day. One day is like, you're just like, oh my God, what's happening? And the next day it kind of feels like your normal, like, writer's day or whatever. But it's like one of the things that, I have loved about this is being able to connect in this new way to people who I might not have easily been able to see this way. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
We appreciate it.
Everything you said is so true. Of course, I was sad to have to cancel my book tour because I wanted to, hug and thank all people who read the book. But I found that this virtual connection is still so real and so wonderful, and I feel so happy. And so if anybody reads Ghosts of Harvard, reach out to me because I want to virtually hug you online.
Congratulations on your
Thank
book.
you.
And I'm sure we will, I'm hoping that we will be able to connect in real life sooner rather than later.
I think so too.
Agree. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.